let's talk about frames. Specifically, let's talk about flat frames. Now, I've been skating my them setup for 3 weeks, coming up on a month now, and a big selling point why I got these skates was the new them frame. I was very excited to try it out. It's supposed to be good for both anti-rocker and flat. I've been skating flat for a few years now. I was ready to try something new, and I was excited to try these out. And I have been enjoying them. I'm really liking them. I'm probably going to stick with them for a very long time. But what I want to know is, how do they stack up against things like the Symmetrics flat frame? Or I also have these Kaiser Fluid 5s that I've never skated, and today seems like a perfect day to try these out. Because are these great? Yes. Are they perfect? No. So how do they stack up against the competition? And today I want to find out. So we're going to try out all three of these frames. Got them set up the same way, dead 58mm wheels across the board, same size, same profile. The ones on the Fluid 5s are the softer compound, they're the 88A, but shouldn't really make a difference for what we're doing. So we're going to skate all of these, we're going to measure them, check the specs on all of these, and compare how they skate together. Now with that, this has the potential to get real wordy, real chatty, and real long, so I will save all of the spec conversation for the end of this video. Right now, let's go skate. Alright, as you can tell, it snowed here in Pittsburgh, and though this may be Brett Dosovic's type of thing, it is not mine. I grew up in southeast Louisiana, so I am not one to skate in the snow. So today we're going to check out Pittsburgh's indoor park, Switch and Signal, great park, right by my house. They've been closed a couple times due to COVID restrictions, but they're open now. They actually built a few new features since the last time I was here. I'm excited to check those out. So I'm going to go in, get warmed up, show you guys what this place has to offer, and then we'll get into testing these frames out. Alright, so that is my local indoor park. Awesome little spot, especially for being right by my house. Absolutely love this place. Used to skate it all the time pre-COVID. Hopefully we'll get back to normal, being here all the time. But let's get down to why we came here in the first place, testing out flat frames. So what I'm really concerned about is wheel bite. So I'm gonna go skate the flat ledge and do groove tricks and see what sticks, what doesn't stick. I'll do a couple of sole tricks to see how the frames slide in general, but mostly concerned about wheel bite protection when it comes to flat frames. So that's what I'm gonna focus on. Alright guys, so I owe you an apology this week. And first, for the grainy, kind of noisy quality footage in this week's episode, unfortunately, indoor parks have horrible lighting for filming, especially when you film on a phone like I do. I do everything off of my phone, and it's just the way it is. I've actually tried to film an episode there before and scrapped the whole thing because I just couldn't stand the look of the footage that I got. But unfortunately this week the weather has been awful and the trips that I've been on have not allowed me to skate. If any of you guys are up in the Detroit area in the Midwest, that crazy storm that rolled through on Thursday, I was actually flying right through the middle of that. It's been a hectic week, both at work and at home, and I've had no other time to shoot anything else, so that's what I had this week. But mostly, I didn't get enough time to thoroughly skate these and give you guys the type of review and comparison that I was planning on shooting this week. Now, I have put in some time on the them frames now. I feel comfortable talking about them, and I've put in a good amount of time on Symmetrics frames. I feel pretty comfortable talking about those as well. However, it's really the Kaiser Fluid 5 that I've got about 7 minutes of skating time on these because that Skatepark does 2.5 hour sessions, and I was running up right against the end of it, swapped these on, and I seriously got about 6 or 7 minutes of skating on these, and I don't really feel comfortable giving a full review on these. However, I was pleasantly surprised with these. I thought these little wheel bite lips, the chicken lips that they got on there, I thought those are going to be a problem for me. I actually, I don't like the look of them, and I thought they were unnecessary, but man, if you've never skated flat before and you really want wheel bite protection, these things work, man. I was very impressed with these. The only concerns I would have is that every piece of plastic that USD puts out or Powerslide puts out, it slides relatively slow compared to other things on the market. But if you're looking for like a bang for your buck flat frame that is gonna prevent you from getting any wheel bite, if you can get a hold of a set of these, this is a great option in my opinion. I, of course, swapped out the hardware. I had some extra Symmetrics hardware laying around. I think it just looks better. It also just feels better. But that's me. But I think this is a great option, especially this is a size small. And I think this would fit like the extra small Them 909 boot or 908 boot really well, because on the small boot, it sits a little bit inside of the toe and the heel. So size small, Fluid 5, if you're looking for something for a extra small shell, this is probably a good option for you. And then the large one, good option for anybody looking for their first flat frame in my opinion. Now, the main reason that I think the Fluid 5 is a great option for flat is because it is very similar in profile. The groove is very similar to the Symmetrics frame, and in my opinion, I'm enjoying the Them frame, but I still think that the Symmetrics flat frame is hands down the best option for a flat frame on the market. You just don't ever get wheel bite. Like, the only issue I could see someone having with these is if you really can't bend your ankle to get over on tricks. If you're riding a more narrow boot and you don't have a lot of flex in your legs and your ankles, it's a bit taller of a H-block, but that is what prevents you from getting wheel bite. I love this frame. I think I still swear by it. Like I said, I'm gonna continue to ride the Them frames, but if money's not a factor and you want the best flat frame that you can get your hands on, as far as plastic frames go, I think the Symmetrics is still gonna be the king of the UFS flat frame. So where does that leave the Them frame, and do I like it? How do I feel about it? Well, I really like it. I think it's a great match for the Them boots. Also, for someone who's looking for a little bit deeper of a groove than say a Symmetrics or Fluid 5, if you're more used to a Create Originals type of groove, or you're just looking for a deeper groove, I don't necessarily think it's a great first flat frame, especially if you're gonna bump up and skate the max wheel size in it. There's really not a lot of wheel bite protection on the edges here. It's not really an issue. You're gonna get some. It doesn't really bug me that much anymore, and it's really not that much of a problem. Again, I don't do a lot of like Royale switch ups into stuff, so I'm not really running into that issue. I've seen other people that are. Not really an issue I have because I don't do them, but I could see it being a problem because you really don't have much of a wall protecting you from wheel bite here. I think Create Originals might do a good job of that. I've never skated those frames, but you know, it's a similar groove to that in depth, And overall, the plastic slides really well. It's a really solid feeling and responsive frame. I've really enjoyed it. I would recommend them to anybody who's got some experience skating flat and looking to try something new. So overall pros, solid, responsive frame, slides really well, nice deeper style groove for those of us that like a deeper groove, and comes with, really stout hardware. I am a sucker for good hardware. I can't stand cheap hardware that strips out, and this stuff feels solid as a rock. I'm loving the hardware for the most part. Now, where these frames fall short for me has nothing to do with wheel bite protection and comes back to the hardware actually. And it's something that I've seen other review channels, other skaters mention in comments, but I've never seen them put out a statement about it. Unless I missed it, if someone can link me to it, please find it, send it to me. I'd love to see something from them skates stating that there is a coping mode with these frames, because it was never advertised to me. Not that I have a huge issue with it, but it would have been nice to know. Now, the way that these frames came set up, there is, your Allen head side and then the outside, but there is also a metal washer that they have on the outside of the skate that puts these into coping mode, where this outside of the axle bolt will drag on the coping and give you that metal on metal sound, which, that's fine if that's what you want. But when I got these skates, I was terrified that, I didn't know this was in there because it was never advertised. And I thought I was just gonna be sliding concrete on metal, which is, not what you want. Now, thankfully, I was gonna switch the wheels out in these skates anyway, so I came across this washer and found out that all you have to do is move it to the inside, and now you have recessed axle bolts. However, you still have to have that washer in the frame no matter what side it's on. So now, if you're a guy who does a lot of negative grinds as well, now the inside of the frame, the hardware is sticking out and it is flush with the frame wall, so you're going to be dragging metal on your negative grinds. Now, me personally, I do about 12 negative grinds a year, so it's not an issue for me, but there are guys out there who are using both boots and both sides of their frames all the time, and they're probably going to have an issue with this. So it just would have been nice to see this advertised properly and let people know that that was going to be a feature in the frame, or at least develop a way to where you can ride it without that washer in there. Now, the only other issue I have is, again, with the hardware, and I'm not an engineer. I don't know if this needs to be this thick, but it seems like they could have made this head a little bit thinner and given you a little bit more space, a little bit more recess of the bolt in the frame so that it doesn't drag. So, those are really my only two gripes with these frames. Other than that, they've been amazing to me. They've got, metal wheel spacers, so they roll fast. Nice thick frame walls, so they're really sturdy, really responsive. A good wide groove. I've put this up next to Aeons, and it's just about the same spacing as Aeons, just a hair inside of an Aeon boot without the little nubs in them. So, overall, I'm digging the frame. I think most people will. The only thing I would caution is if it's your very first flat frame, maybe don't go to the max wheel size on it, or I think it would pair really well with something like a speed profile wheel like the Conjure Cosmics or the Undercover Super Bullet profile. Something like that is going to be a really good match for this frame. Alright guys, that's going to do it for me this week. Again, I am sorry I did not have time to measure all of these frames and really compare the specs like I promised in the beginning of this video, or even really review them frames the way that I wanted to, but it just wasn't in the cards this week, and I wanted to make sure I got you guys something and let you guys know how I'm feeling about the them frames. But that's going to wrap it up for this week. I'm going to go catch the Mike Murda podcast over on Jump Street. So until next time, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, goodbye.